going to do that. That was a mistake. Hi, I'm Sailor Mars Ray. And today, first, I just want to make that mistake about that, I don't know, burp, whatever I did in the beginning of the film. But anyway, so here's what I'm going to talk about today. So, alright. So we talked about, the scathing, the nagging, the bitching, I guess the nagging, the little bitching and the scathing and the whining that the folks who saw the Deke one and the Cloverway down one didn't like of Sailor Moon. Um, we did talk about that. So I don't really think we can talk about it anymore. I mean we can, but at the end of the day I'm not gonna have any more things on it than I already have on it. So alright. But I guess what I'll do is I'll just have to do it, you know, I guess I'll just have to tie it in and end it here. So, since we already talked about send, like I guess sin, since we already talked about um, the Deke, and we also talked about Tune Makers, which they didn't have the rights to Offshoot. Now we're going to talk about Cloverway. Now, first off, some folks believe, and I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but a lot of folks believe that Cloverway was an offshoot of Toei. Maybe it was, nay wasn't, it need be, or maybe it need be not. I don't know. But no one hasn't heard of Cloverway before the third or fourth followings of Sailor Moon, and no one hasn't heard anything from them since. That doesn't mean to say, anyway, even Guard of Cloverway's beginnings, or who they owned them, or whatever, Cloverway was the business that got the rights to the third and fourth followings of Sailor Moon after Deke's deal came up. Deke only had a deal from 9 between 95, well actually 9 between 94 YL when they signed up a deal, till 9 between 99 YL. That was how long the deal went for. That's why Deke N got, and that's why Deke had to run and get the rest of the two Ford following done, since their deal, I should say, was coming up. And anyway, Cloverway won the right for the third following and the fourth following. And Pioneer, unless you want to call Path Seeker, they won the right to do the films. Now, if you would think that the Cloverway offshoot of Sailor Moon, if you would think that those the same Sailor Moon followers would not be bitching, whining, and nagging about Cloverway, which their one was to make a little more closer to the Toei one that everyone was offshooting from. But at the end of the day, they still bitched about that. Yes, the scathing, the bitching, the whining, the nagging, whatever you want to call it. The scathing was they still scathed the show players. They still were bitching about Southwood's names being shifted. They were still bitching about Strike and Hit names being shifted. So everything that they scathed the Deke one for, they were scathing the Cloverway one for. Now, keep in mind, Cloverway didn't really have to do that much of shifting or cleaning of Sailor Moon, but they did do some. Not as much. It's hard to tell what they had to heal and clean and shift, and what they did not. Now, even though by that time the whole the whole, ranking oversight had come out. And it had been out, it had been in law since between 97 YL. So Cloverway didn't have to do a lot of shifting and cleaning of Sailor Moon like Deke did. But anyway, they didn't have to have the Sailor Says. They didn't have to do that. But there were still some oversights they still had to follow. And on top of that, there were still a lot of shifts they did. So, folks bitched about that one being too close to the Toei one. Every other English and other speech offshoots out there were offshooting from. They were still bitching about the show playing. They were still bitching about names and strikes and hits being either shifted around or had been shifted before that. You could not win with them. These Sailor Moon followers, the ones where it was not good enough for them, are the ones that give all the onlook to Viz, saying that was the true good one. Now, keep in mind, they have the right to their thought and belief, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like the Deke and the Cloverway and the Viz. But at the end of the day, when I think of Sailor Moon, it's going to be the Deke one that's going to come up. And right behind that, the Cloverway one. A lot of folks, it is what it is. And was the hate of the Cloverway English offshoot of Sailor Moon needed? No. It was not. It was Cloverway's way of, I guess, dealing with the scathing of the Deke one before them, and thought, well, if we make it more closer to the Toei offshoot, which everyone else is offshooting from in some way, then they will not scathe so much. Well, they still scathed, and they still bitched it, and they still nagged and whined about, the South Hoods had their names shifted. They still gave them those Greek and Latin borrowed names. The strikes and hits names have been shifted again. You couldn't win with them. You know? So, anyway, it is what it is. I mean, you can't win with these folks. But at the end of the day, the hate of the Cloverway English offshoot of Sailor Moon was not needed. And like the Deke one that came before it, there was no need for the hate. So anyway, that's just my thought on the Cloverway English offshoot of Sailor Moon, which a lot of folks sometimes, and one more thing, a lot of folks who watch the Deke one, then they watch the Cloverway one, would see two unlike offshoots of Sailor Moon. Like it wouldn't be this, yeah, but at the same time, it is what it is. And, but anyway, the scathing, the bitching, the nagging, there was no need for it. I'm Sailor Mars Ray. Hope you like this film.